welcome to a replacement podcast stream because not enough people turned up for Starfinder. We just left off talking about feet, political alignment, living in the South if you're... No, only being racist in the South when you go to the South, not South people are racist. Although that does seem to be a thing about Britain and America. I mean,
new toggle like feet so much.
Like where I'm from in Kent, literally everyone goes, "Oh, isn't that the racist place?" Like,
Midge, I have to ask this because I was watching a series that I only found out about a year after it finished being made because that's how everything works. That's called Midgeman. But it's a couple of guys, and they just kind of do random episodes things. And they did one episode about where the line between North and South United Kingdom is.
for me, that's Oxford.
That's Oxford.
Anything above Oxford is where you start progressing into the north.
Really?
Okay.
I was going to say, like, Nottingham.
Here's the thing.
Or Nottingham's a good one because Nottingham's very central.
It changes depending on where you're from, apparently. Cause
yeah,
people,
the further
like,
south you are, the closer to the south it is.
Like, apparently they asked people on the street, and apparently everybody from England essentially just right north, or like north started right after, like, the tip-top north of England. Like, it's just like, yeah, that's all north. Everything below that's south. It's
Yeah, there's loads of people, there's a good group of people at uni who really hate being called Northern because they're from the Midlands. They're from a place called...
Oh, that was another part of the episode.
They're from Stoke, and they so resent being called Northern. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that was a joke in the episode. They said, and we asked a couple of people from Geordie, and they said there was a thing called the Midlands. They just go back. And they crunch up the map and throw it away with the Midlands on it. And it's like...
No, but that 100% is a thing. Like, there's people that really resent being called from the north, but to me, they're from the north. It's...
Well, no, but Midge, you gotta remember, like, no one likes to be called something they're not.
Yes.
So, like, it's just that thing. So it's not necessarily they don't like that you're calling them Northern. They wouldn't like if you called them Portuguese either, because they're trying to say, like, no one likes to be accused of being something they're not. Cause it's kind of like, wait, that's not who I am. Get it right.
I'm horribly offended by being Portuguese.
Yeah, but let's face it, they are Northern.
But they did talk about the fact that there was an actual, like, geography professor and and they actually went through and they figured out a line, where's north and what's south and north, and it's not actually a straight line across country. It's like a diagonal line.
It's kind of a It's kind of a cultural thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it jockeys around certain
like,
towns,
yeah.
and there's actual towns that are north of other towns, but they're considered in the south, and some that are more south that are considered north because of the way the culture works.
God damn
And
it!
it's like jockeys
Well,
around.
because England is such a higgledy-piggledy mess. What
You
are
are a
people from Wales
higgledy-piggledy
called?
mess.
They're
That's
called
amazing.
Welsh. They're just Welsh.
Hey, blame the Vikings for that.
The
It's okay.
subjects.
It's okay. We
You
can all
can't-
agree. We can all agree the Welsh are the Welsh.
I know I love the Welsh accent. I really do. It's one of the most soothing
Just not the
thing-
Welsh language.
No,
Just
oh,
not
no,
Welsh.
it
Where
is
you
the Welsh
two?
language. It is like one of the most lovely things to listen to.
What? Wait. What did you just say? The Welsh language is one of the most lovely things to listen to.
It really is.
Midge, are you deaf? Are you deaf, Midge?
Well, no. If you think the
Completely
Welsh
deaf
language
time.
is what Tolkien used to make Elven, and
That doesn't make me
it's
like it more.
It's really.
Well, he used it as inspiration for Elven. Like it's actually more. Oh, what is it? There's a
No,
couple
the
Indian
alphabet
languages.
for it is the Welsh alphabet with a couple of
The
his own
alphabet,
created.
yeah, but the sound structure and everything. Because I've actually also been watching videos this week about language and shit. And apparently he used a lot of like Scandinavian as well.
A lot of it didn't exist like in a vocal sound, and I actually met the person who had to turn all of Tolkien's languages into sounded word as part of my course. She came in and did a almost a masterclass lecture with us. Her name was Rasheen some. Oh fuck now.
On internet.
Hey,
That's when
thank you for the cheers.
feels sweet. Truth feels sweet.
Sorry, I'm just currently having to listen to Theresa May. And
Oh God.
so sorry.
if anyone cheers above 100 bits, it plays Theresa May laughing horrendously.
So I
but
do have a question, Roach. do we want to do like a more roleplay focused session today?
We can't really keep going forward.
I was gonna say, let's just keep it the podcast.
I've literally renamed the stream a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Do we want to like switch to Google Hangouts as well instead of having Starfinder in the background?
My name's on Google Hangouts.
Oh, okay. Fair. No.
Yeah, a lot of because of how it worked, I had to put my name down for all the Google.
Roach, could you put a blank background on?
Should we just put Ben with
arms?
And I'll just put the videos up to large.
Blank background. This is as blank as I have currently.
Well, we could jump into Roach's old D&D campaign map, or he can probably change something there, just black screen or something.
Yeah, just something.
A Starfield is fine. The Starfield looks nice.
Yeah, it's just the characters. Can you move the characters out of like view, or can I move? Yeah.
Well, okay. We just moved two groups to either side.
That's right. I'll zoom in. It's cool. We're good. No, don't move them.
Yeah,
all good. All good. We're all good. I need L. So yeah. If anyone wants, we're doing a we're doing a replacement podcast because we can't really continue on with our normal scheduled broadcast. So we've been talking about random things, politics. Like we were discussing how we were trying to discuss if the people we have here are of very varied political alignment, and that brought up some things into question because like feet, yes, like feet.
Yeah, randomly. Yes. We just got to segue into that.
We also spent a good half an hour trying to decide if Disney's going to become a monopoly by buying Fox, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, at least they got X-Men. That's all. You know, we can all thank that.
Yeah, but somehow Sony still has Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah, they do.
The one ring to
but
rule
at
them all.
least Sony are working with Marvel to try to do something with. At least
that's only because Ghostbusters failed so miserably.
Well, what did they really expect that to be a big hit?
Oh yeah, they did. No, they expected that to be their cash cow.
They fully expected it to be that. And then it fell flat on his face.
There's only one reason that you pump $300,000 or $300 million into a new IP or a new like production, like a reboot.
Why are they rebooting all these old things?
Because
they're doing that because they had the license to it and they had to do something.
But I saw somewhere they're restarting Magnum PI. You remember that with Tom Selleck?
Oh my god,
and the
Tom
little
Selleck
booty
and his
shorts?
mustache, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're Crimson also
and his oddly little gun.
Yeah.
As well. That
like
Crimson. It's because for those companies they seem like surefire ways to make money. They're always looking for the most likely way they won't lose money, and so IPs that did well in the past are more likely to either bring nostalgia or are more likely to be successful again. But they always effort up.
Yeah, they're hoping.
I think they did okay with MacGyver.
I mean, okay, but going back onto the fact
I got a great example. Did any of you watch Baywatch?
Oh god, the remake.
Apparently that was horrible.
I'm glad
I didn't watch it, but you can tell there's a big problem. There's a massive identity crisis in that movie because it's called Baywatch. So basically, they're trying to get people who watch the old one, they have that nostalgia to go watch it. But the movie is nothing like the actual TV show at all. It's more like this sort of like, buddy sort of like action, sort of a little bit of action in it and stuff, like police kind of stories. And so people are like,
what are you going to do with Baywatch? Let's be honest, for a movie.
But that's what I mean. It's like there's such an identity crisis. It's like trying to be something new, but use an old name. It could have been called anything else.
Yeah.
But they only use Baywatch because the name. It's so crazy.
The interesting thing, like,
I didn't even watch it.
I had to do, because I was obviously trying to do fact-finding information for essays and stuff I've written. And one of the things I came across is that in 2017, only 6 of the top 25 top-grossing films of the year were individual standalone films. The rest were either remakes or what are they called? Sequels, prequels.
Yes, that's what they're called.
I don't think there's anything particularly bad with sequels or remakes. The idea itself, I don't think is bad. Like, they can be good. The problem is that they constantly keep doing it, and they keep doing it badly. Like, for example, Transformers. Why? Why don't they just do it right? Why do they need to keep just pumping out all this shit and basically killing? It's like the movie's dead.
NG,
It's like
they never
killing
did
the
it
horse.
right. They never
Exactly,
did.
but I mean, it's like I love it, like when they talk
It's
to
'cause
Michael
it's
Bay, like I think for the second or third one, he's like, this time we're gonna add more character to the robot, and it's like the robot dies. You're like, who the fuck was that? I don't know who that was. I don't care.
We're gonna add more characters
There was-
to the
I
robots
remember
by
in
making
one
them
of them-
racist.
Yeah, and then it was that, and it was like, oh, it's so bad. They do it so badly. Like that's a great example of a really badly done. You got such a great idea with such great
Yeah, Disney's buying
characters
Fox,
historically,
that's one of the things. That's
and like they
something
just
that's
shit all over it. I remember I just saw one of the robots die, and I was like, I didn't feel anything because I didn't know who that person was. I didn't know anything about them. I felt like I was like, okay, that one died. Oh, I guess that's sad.
It's a shame the giant alien robot died. Moving on.
Oh, there's the hot girl again.
Oh, look, Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy.
The woman that was in the fourth one, I don't know her name, but fun
The
fact,
blonde?
my housemate went to school with her. The blonde one, yeah.
Yeah.
She's from a
The one that-
tiny
the one that
town
didn't-
in
the-
Somerset.
The one
No,
they
it's not
needed
Somerset.
because Megan Fox wouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's her name because that's all she's known for in that movie. She's like, oh, okay. At least they got rid of Shia LaBeouf.
Shia, I am not.
I
gonna
actually
miss
don't
anymore.
mind
Actual
Shia
cannibal.
LaBeouf.
Actual cannibal.
Actually-
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Actually, I don't mind Shia LaBeouf. Actually, I know he's crazy. That's his norm. But as an actor, I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's good either. I don't think he's good, but I wouldn't
He's
say,
not,
oh my god,
he's
that's
not
horrible.
that good in Transformers. His lines consist
yeah.
of the same word over and over again 50 times most of
But
the time.
I
It's
think
like,
that's
no, no,
more
no, 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 no,
Transformers
no, no.
than Fury.
He's running from your
I
line.
think it's more the writing. There's nothing you can do with that script. Like literally, there's no characters at all in Transform movies.
Killing for sport.
Yeah, but Shia was better in Transformers than he was in Fury, so...
So what was that
I don't know.
accent he tried? What the fuck was that?
I-
Yeah.
See,
I
this
think
is
he has a good
another
sense
thing.
of
I
humour
had
as
to
well
write an
sometimes.
essay recently on certain aspects of acting, and one of that is method acting. And I really, in my mindset, I'm against method acting.
Mitch,
I
did you watch
understand-
the Jim Carrey film?
Yes, I have, and I wrote about it. But
That's a really good
it's-
example.
Shia
Yeah.
LaBeouf is also a really good example in Fury because he actually cut his face for that scar. He physically cut his face.
That's
to get the
amazing. I did
scar
not
over
know
it.
that.
Okay, let me rephrase. His voice, the voice part of acting, the speaking
Oh,
part
yeah,
of his
yeah,
acting
there
role, he
was-
wasn't very good. His acting was okay. Like,
Yeah.
physically, moving around was okay.
But
Doing the thing.
there's people at my uni that do explore method acting as well, which is all a little bit dodgy. Like one of my friends was playing a Holocaust survivor, so he decided to stop eating for about 4 days and live outside. Like
Ooh.
there's an issue that it's become trendy to do method acting, and people aren't relying enough on their own just imagination, and they feel like they need to experience everything, and that's a big thing with actors.
That's a
at
good
the moment.
point, actually.
I
That it's
don't know
become
if I'm
trendy.
I don't know if I
think
agree
that's a
with
good
that.
point.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I like method acting.
What do you mean?
Well, okay,
become
because
trendy,
I come
so-
from a background. I come from a background of history and
Yeah.
like historical reenactments and things like that. And obviously, that is an like if you were going to apply that in terms of acting, it's an incredibly method actor because you have to learn about not only everything that's going on there, but you also, when you're doing a reenactment, you are getting into the shoes of whatever you're reenacting. So, like if you're doing if you're going out and you're doing a Civil War reenactment or something like that, you're out there and you're
Instantly become racist.
Racism mode.
It's not that. It's not
On
that.
hills
But
of
you can.
Georgia.
It's not that. But like, it kind of like. I'm not saying racist, but you have to
Embody it.
like a good example is like is like I was down in a reenactment in I think it was either North. I think it was North Georgia, a long time ago, and. One of the things that kind of sprouted up spontaneously, I was in a Union camp. There's not really separate camps, but like I was in the Union side of the camp, and over on the other side, the Confederates guys, they were doing like kind of a thing for everybody that was walking through the camp and showing, where people are going looking through all the period tents and everything. But they started a campfire and they started singing Union or Confederate battle songs. So the Battle Cry for Freedom, the Confederate version, and all that kind of stuff loudly, and it started becoming kind of a thing between the two of us. So the Union started singing their own versions of all the songs, and it became more of a. We kind of got into the roles more. It's more because not only
See, that's the thing. Method acting is fine because I would argue that is in a performance example. Like you were at a place where you were embodying these people, you were going to the method acting is too far when it expands outside the performance and when you're on set, and that's not. Yeah, it's the whole. It's when people
Sacha Baron Cohen going home being gay as Bruno. Apparently, his wife said that he was unbearable for that whole time when he was filming Bruno because he just would be gay all the time.
It's
if you hadn't
horribly
noticed,
homosexual.
I'm a nut.
Dog. Thanks for the follow.
But Midge, I just want to say, because I think you made a good point, but I also slightly disagree. I think method acting can be really good, but I think you're right that it's become trendy. So a lot of actors, they do method acting because that is how they can act. That's the only way they can do it sometimes, and that's how they find they best get their performance out. And not everyone needs to do that. Not everyone needs the method act. Some people can do it without method acting very easily.
Yeah.
But some people do need to do it. But because it's become this thing, people think if you are a method actor, you're better. People go, "Oh, he's a method actor. Wow,
100%.
he must be really good."
I completely understand.
Everyone
method.
then feels they need to do that.
Method gets hugely good results. It does in certain scenarios. It gets fantastic results. But
isn't Daniel Day-Lewis a method actor?
He is.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't do many roles either.
Not only that, but he does it. It's almost like he's in a very controlled environment when he does it. He always puts himself in a very
picks his
safe
roles, doesn't he?
Yeah, he also always puts himself in a very safe place. He went pretty method for Last of the Mohicans, and that was good because he was surrounded by advisors and he had technicians that trained him to do all the stuff. That's amazing. That's absolutely fine. It's when method becomes.
There's a good Abraham Lincoln.
It's when you do it. It's when it's done not safely.
Apparently, whenever he was doing Lincoln, he insisted that everybody on set called him Mr. Lincoln or Mr. President while he was there.
Yeah. I was very impressed by his performance actually in that film.
Oh, he did a great job.
I feel like he became Lincoln. I was really surprised. I was because when I first heard the film, I thought, I'm not sure about this film, And being a character like Lincoln's a really hard character to portray, I think. And then when he did it, I was like, this is actually really good.
I mean,
it's hard.
I love that.
Lincoln's hard to portray when you don't know a lot about him, but Lincoln as a guy is actually if you learn about him, he's actually a pretty relatable person. He's less of a. He wasn't as blue-blooded.
That's what I mean
as you think. It was all very.
But that's what I mean. Sometimes those characters are harder to play. When you got someone who's very two-dimensional or someone who's a bit more complicated, it's kind of easy for some actors to get into that because they go, okay, that's what they feel. That's what they feel. I know exactly how that person feels. When you're playing a more mellow character that maybe a bit less complicated, I think sometimes that can be really hard because how do you portray them? You can't just portray them like a normal guy because that's not what they are. They're still their own person. I think actually that makes it more. I think that's what makes Abraham Lincoln hard to portray, rather than someone like Churchill or Hitler.
Not only the fact that he's also more than one-dimensional, but a lot of his actual political beliefs were extremely different from what people think he was about. For example, his first goal was to preserve the Union. He did not believe that blacks should have equal rights. He believed that blacks should be free and citizens, but segregated.
Can we call them African Americans?
I think that you'd find not many people though who would agree. I don't think you'd find many people at that time period who would have said African Americans should have had equal rights. Most people, I think, at that time period probably did think they should be segregated.
Oh, yeah. No, that was
probably
just
just
the most common.
It's really hard to judge people in that time period. It's I think we're very happy with people like Abraham Lincoln because at least they're progressive in the manner. They may still have that very old opinion, but at least they're trying to be progressive, at least a little bit from that time period. But
I mean, do remember that he had said that if he could have preserved the Union without freeing a single slave, he would have done it.
It's also like, the founding
politically
fathers, most of them had like slaves and stuff. It's like, does that mean they're bad men then?
No,
it's like it's really hard to judge people in the past
judging
on the values
people,
we have now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like marrying people when they're 30.
I mean, there are certain people that I would say have actual, like, I think there was one founding father that it wasn't that he had slaves, but he had a a child out of wedlock, like, a bastard with one of his slaves.
Wasn't that Thomas Jefferson?
Maybe?
I was about to say,
it was Thomas Jefferson.
Are you sure that
I'm almost
that one a death? I thought that was a
sure.
really
And he didn't
one.
even free them, like, even the during, like, before his death or anything like that. Like,
I think it was in his will he freed them, maybe.
Yeah, in his will, after he died, he freed them. He freed them.
Which, in a way, kind of doesn't make it that good. It's like, okay, now I've used them, they're free.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'd say
I would say that would be a verify. I would say that'd be a more. I don't even think some people, if they found out about that back then, would be all right with that for different reasons. But it's still, I think that could be said as like a bad move, or that could. I mean, it doesn't take away from the other things they did, but it definitely does color your opinions a bit more, in my opinion.
That's what I mean. It's hard to judge people, but you can still judge people. But it can be hard sometimes. It can be a bit murky.
Yeah, you do have to be realistic, pragmatic when it comes to
Churchill is a great example of someone who causes a lot of different opinions. He's a hero because he was the prime minister during the war, but actually, as a guy with opinions, he had a lot of horrible opinions, especially about like in India and some of the colonies and stuff. But then I guess it's because you're comparing him then to Hitler. He looks like a nice guy.
Yeah, but also he was obviously of a completely different ideal set, because he was a commander in the Boer War. Like, he led some cavalry down there. And we all know how bad England treated South Africa. Like,
they didn't get along very well after that.
We did some really bad genocides down there. Like, I'll tell you that.
No. The Boer people still don't.
But then it's interesting because then you have something interesting. Like, when the Germans defeated France, they actually offered to make peace with Britain and said we can be allies and basically rule the world together. That was kind of Hitler's idea, was that the British and Germans would kind of rule the world together. Because he saw the English as equals to the Aryan race. Because he said, how can a small island be able to control like India with a billion of people? And this small island can control them. He said that shows they're a high race.
Aristocracy,
but Churchill actually said they would never make peace with Hitler. And even people in the government actually disagreed with Churchill. They said, no, why don't you take it? This is a great out. We can make peace with the Germans. And we get to keep everything. Like,
and
this is
we
a
also
win-win.
get to fight the commies.
Yeah, and
there was a huge faction in the British government.
Yeah,
but remember at the time the commies were commies were allied to the Germans, technically. The Germans weren't public in their, like they were going to betray the commies, even though it was pretty obvious because Hitler's always said he hates the commies. But they had a secret agreement that they wouldn't do anything. The
Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact.
That one.
Yeah, that's it. The whole thing with Churchill is weird because, like, you have this guy who has all these beliefs that the British should control India and stuff, but then he won't make peace so that they can dominate still. It was really odd, and a lot of people disagreed with him. So him not accepting that peace, though,
it's like he was a grumpy, stubborn Englishman.
Yeah, to be fair, we just had our asses handed to us at Dunkirk. Like,
yeah, and also
that's the thing. If Dunkirk had gone worse, which it could have gone worse,
it could have gone far worse.
Well, because they still got out. If Hitler never stopped the attack, they could have just been wiped out on the beach before any type of action had been taking place, and then there's a very good chance the UK would have just capitulated. Yeah, because they would have had no army.
Which is why Dunkirk is such an important event. But Midge, you wouldn't say they got their asses kicked because technically there wasn't really much fighting. Basically, the French gave up when the British were coming to help, and so then the British had to just retreat. So technically, it wasn't an ass kicking. It was more like we just ran.
The French didn't.
they outmaneuvered us and we ran away.
Here's the thing: the French didn't necessarily give up like cowards.
No, they just got surrounded.
When the current prime minister,
they had no choice.
When the current prime minister resigned, when the prime minister resigned and gave the position to Philippe Pétain, he realized that a continued resistance militarily would have resulted in the absolute destruction of France.
But that's because the Germans outmaneuvered them.
Exactly.
The German tactics were so
Also
good
helped
that
they
they
were
actually
about
just
50
meant
50
Paris would
from
just be
the French
blown to
high
bits,
command.
most likely. Wants to see Paris blown to pieces. That would be the worst thing, I think, for them.
Pétain is a polarizing figure still in French society and history today, because a lot of people realize that he didn't do what he did because he was some power-hungry monster, but because he had witnessed firsthand the horrors of World War One and never wanted France to go through that again.
I would never blame the people in charge of France when they gave up. I would never blame them because they didn't have much of a choice. They were completely surrounded. The Germans had outmaneuvered them. It's basically, okay, sign it or die, basically.
Yeah, and, people also go, well,
people
he assisted the Germans during the Holocaust, and it's like, okay, what choice did he have?
I don't know much about him personally, but yeah, I don't know about that. But the initial sign of the thing, people who maybe agreed to do that, I wouldn't blame them for that. It's a very difficult situation. England, obviously being an island, we have that kind of luxury of not needing to give up.
Grumpily hiding on your island and shaking a stick at people.
Well, we could have had a really bad day as well if the Battle of Britain went any different.
We weren't hiding, Tog. Remember, the British actually bombed Germany.
True.
See, if the Battle of Britain
gave an offer of peace.
The Battle of Britain was actually very touch and go for a small portion of it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The fact
that, the biggest thing that everybody always remembers is the Blitz. But the Blitz is actually the reason why the Battle of Britain was lost by Germany. Yeah. Because the Blitz on London is what gave the RAF and all of their production facilities for new fighters time to breathe and to regain the losses they took previously.
Yeah.
If they never did
we were very good at hiding them. That was the whole thing about not having the lights on.
That's the thing though. The losses taken by the RAF and the production capabilities that were lost because of the concerted bombing campaign before the Blitz was enough that if it continued, the UK would have lost because they were losing far too many planes and far too many factories.
Oh yeah.
Compared to what they were maintaining. And the only reason that they didn't was because the Germans decided to change up the strategy to hit the morale targets.
Yeah.
No,
they went for civilians.
They went for civilians.
Okay, sorry. So I thought you were talking about because even then, even if they'd gone if they hadn't gone for Russia, they could have kept just attacking England and finally maybe got rid of the RAF.
Rather than listening to Goring's advice to continue to hit production targets and wartime economic situations in Germany, or not Germany, in England, Hitler decided that it would be a better idea to prioritize the population and try and.
Well, actually, I guess the reason
they
why
wanted to lower because I think they felt that the British government, some people were in support of making peace.
Well, no. Here's the actual. There's a real reason why. There's a real reason why. It's because of the British did it to them. They had their own bomb. They had a bomb. They had a bomber that overshot its actual target, which was a military target.
No Starfinder today. No, sorry.
A British town. Or not a British town, a German city / town. So they hit a civilian target by accident, and essentially just to get back at them, they switched their campaign to hitting London and doing the Blitz.
Well, but it was also a common theory among air commanders that bombing the population was horrible, but it was a quick way to get a country to capitulate because no one wants. Civilians to continuously
at the time,
die.
Yeah, normally was. And also it might change civilian support because the government, obviously, if all the people are saying let's give up, the government can't keep fighting because the population, if they're saying give up, the problem is it actually had the opposite effect.
There's also with the Battle of Britain and there's also the undeniable thing that in the end there was it kind of boosted morale for Britain, and that's kind of what pushed it through, and that's because it's defending your own turf.
Exactly.
And it was defending your own turf at a point in the war where they viably could defend their own turf.
I can just imagine everyone going, fuck them, we're gonna fuck them. Let's just keep fighting. I ain't giving up.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
we're a very
never
stubborn
did
nation
that.
as it is. Can you imagine us being like, it's just one of the, I could take another punch
good
when you're like
thing-
bleeding with no teeth. It's that sort
The
of
good
thing.
thing is, though,
Yeah.
because Britain didn't give up, like, even though obviously it didn't mean that the war was going to be won in the end, it did allow the Americans to have a platform to invade from. So it kind of does have a big effect. Like, a lot of people talk about the turning point in the war. The turning point definitely was when Germany attacked Russia.
Oh,
Russians definitely, that was the
Russia.
big turning point. But one of the vital points, obviously, is also when the Americans joined, but also the Battle of Britain is also a vital point because it allows the Americans then to be able to land their men in England and attack from there. Without that, it'd be very
Well-
difficult to kind of get into France and stuff.
we also did a
D-Day
very
almost
sim-
didn't happen.
Yeah, we
Like-
also
Yeah,
did-
of course. Yeah, I mean it almost didn't happen as well. And also, obviously, you got the wars in North Africa and stuff. But
Well, World War One is like the kind of the same thing kind of happened because like it was with like the unrestricted U-boat warfare against like Britain. I can't remember. It was 1 month in. I can't remember which month it was. Don't like hold me exactly to the numbers, but we lost to German U-boat warfare. We lost 900,000 tons of shipping, like, which was all like while we were trying to like. This was before America was in, and it's that sort of holding out example that it just concurrently happened both in World War One and World War Two, allowing other things to happen.
That's
Like-
what happens when you're an island.
Yeah, it's been a major strategic thing for us for years upon years.
it's good and bad. It's good
Yes,
and bad.
because paradoxically, the water allows trade to work great, but invading over water is paradoxically extremely hard,
So we buy.
Unless you're William the Bastard.
unless you're William the Bastard.
Right.
Who
then
had
you-
another,
Or Viking.
but yeah, well but you can argue that William the Bastard wouldn't have had a greater chance if there wasn't another invasion that Harold Godwinson had to deal with. Like he'd already lost like a third of his troops and then had to exhaustively walk them all the way
I'm
back
sure.
down.
I'm sure. Yeah, his troops are tired by the time they face Harold.
I mean, like,
Him.
Just
you
as a
imagine
thing,
you
just
try
as a
to
thing,
you
Mitch.
try to walk from the north to the south of England in 3 days in armor, like after
Just
fighting
as
after fighting
Wait,
a
so
5-day battle.
Midge,
like-
when you say walked from the north, do you mean Oxford?
Another conversation.
That doesn't
we
seem
had
that far than me.
What were you saying, Rogue?
Well, I was just saying, Midge, just as a thing for the whole U-boat campaign.
Yeah.
In World War II, actually, one of the funny things, well, not funny things, but one of the things is if Germany had implemented its Plan Z,
Yeah.
which was the rearmament of the Kriegsmarine, they would have had far more submarines because the submarine fleet that actually took part in the Battle of the Atlantic was a fraction of the size that it was supposed to be. All because, obviously, Hitler didn't expect the war to start over Poland.
Yeah.
They expected it to start over an actual war with France. So they had planned for the war to happen 2 years later, in 1941, 1942 era. So
I've
they
got-
expected to have upwards of a couple hundred U-boats at the time.
Mhm.
But I think they only had like less than 150 or something like that. Like it wasn't a lot.
Why
No,
were
it's
the
barely.
German U-boats so deadly? Like, I don't know much about the U-boats. I don't know much about them. I know a lot about the history of the wars and stuff, but I'm not very good when it comes to the technology and the weapons and stuff.
Well,
Why are the
one
German
was-
U-boats so famous?
one
Why were they
was
so
the-
deadly, or why do they have so many?
Because they were a organized submarine force.
Yeah.
At,
And
the,
also-
at that
So
time,
Why did the Germans make so many U-boats? Is it just because were they cheaper to make, or did they think
Oh,
they
We
were
just,
Overall,
had,
better?
yeah.
we just
Yeah.
had different schools of thought in terms of naval technology. Like,
well, no,
Okay.
it was also they are cheaper to make per ship. Like a U-boat costs like the same amount as like maybe like a half or less of a destroyer. Like you can produce like 2
Like a
U-boats
Corvette.
for a destroyer or something like that. Like it's not expensive, and they're easy to crew because it
One
only
U-boat
takes,
can
Yeah.
destroy a destroyer.
yeah, a U-boat can destroy a
if
battleship.
it's a
Like,
U-boat can destroy really anything it can hit, so long as
And-
it doesn't get hit back.
Plus,
Yeah,
it's
and
hard to
same.
find.
It's hard to find because it can go underwater for a short period of
And
time.
do remember that the convoy strategy was not invented until after the U.S. joined the war. So originally, convoys did not travel with escorts.
No, so these U-boats would operate in like single, like at the beginning they would operate like as a single ship, and they'd go out and you'd have like 30 ships in a sector, and every time they spotted a British ship, they'd just go for it, and they'd hit them with a torpedo like a knight, or they'd surface. And
hit and run tactics.
What was most common
on something on a navy who substantiate on being standing in place and being big bulwarks of destruction and iron and metal, just plinking at the armor plates until it dies.
Here's one thing that did change during World War II. The Germans at first did not use torpedoes per se. Most of the time they would surface and use the 4-inch gun on the bow of the submarine. Mostly because they would give the chance for the maritime individuals aboard the ships to get the fuck off the ship.
Plus, torpedoes were expensive.
That too. They were
relatively
expensive.
to build.
Also somewhat unreliable early in the
exactly.
war, so it was better to.
So it was also a gentlemanly thing. It was, we don't want to hit these merchant marines. Most of them were civilians, and just blow them out of the water and kill everyone there.
But World War One, the opposite happened. Everything was just easy pickings, and that's also why.
Well, no, because here's the thing: that happened also until von Tirpitz told them to stop because it was inefficient.
But when they said, they said, I'm talking about when unrestricted submarine warfare came in. Which,
because they tried to do the same thing.
That's also another reason why you see in the later stages of the war, for World War One in particular, that loads more countries do join the Allies against Germany in the end. Because places like Brazil and Portugal that aren't really ever mentioned, was like one of the main factors is they're having loads of their shipping destroyed.
Yeah,
just
then they got
pissed
trading
with Britain.
Understandably.
You know who I feel bad for about World War One? Like everyone always talks about Germany, like how they were treated after World War One, and they lost some land. But everyone forgets about Austria-Hungary.
Austria-Hungarian Empire.
Sadly, they lost so much land. They lost so much.
They stopped
after
existing.
That war.
Well, yeah.
They stopped existing as an idea. The empire kaput.
Yeah.
Also, I just wanted to bring up, Midge. You said
they were the real victims.
There's two schools of thought in terms of the British and German Navy. Not only in submarine warfare, but also in surface navy, because the Germans after World War One switched over to a rating system instead of a combat
like the combat
like
dreadnought.
Yeah, so like that's why the Bismarck was sunk, and it was outnumbered 3-1 or more, like when it was like being killed, because it was raiding. It was by itself with maybe I think one heavy
two ships.
It had two escorts.
One of which split off, and the other one was hit really early when the British found out.
Yeah, it was a small combat raiding group that went around the UK, did some raiding, and then came back. And the only reason it even got a big famous was because the Hood found it, and it killed the Hood, and that was
it fucked the Hood.
And then, ironically, a really relatively small ship in the British Navy was the thing that took it down.
It was actually a swordfish bomber.
Yeah.
Oh.
Swordfish bomber killed it.
Because
it doesn't matter who's by a cruiser, wasn't it?
It was being stalked by a cruiser, but the swordfish was what put the torpedo in the rudder that actually made it essentially killed it, because couldn't run at that point.
When Germany started rebuilding its navy, they decided to go break the Paris Agreement for naval things.
Yeah.
And had much bigger guns than the British Navy did.
Well, to be fair, don't forget, Chris, that everyone broke that treaty.
No, what I'm saying is Britain just had a chance to outgun their battleships. But they decided.
But that wasn't a part of their naval doctrine, though.
Yeah, no, that wasn't their naval doctrine.
They never favored British naval doctrine. Never favored battleships. It's always favored faster ships.
Faster, medium ships that can outmaneuver. It's always been.
That's why battle cruisers are the more prestigious.
Even going all the way back to like our ships of the line. That's still what we did.
But in efficiency, in distance, the type of warheads. But they decided to stick with the smaller, less long range gun.
Well, yeah, the same face. They were the one that came up with the agreement. If they broke it blatantly, it would have looked bad for Britain.
But all basically the entire reason the U-boats are a big deal is because of the cost to the amount of damage they can do. Like there's the great example of U-47 that gets through Scarpa Flow in early in the war. So U-47 gets through Scarpa Flow, the most heavily defended port in the UK, and it sinks a battleship. It sinks the Royal Oak, I think it is. At anchor. So they never got a shot off. It was sank by a ship that cost a fraction to crew, man, and build for years, and for essentially a ship that was very expensive.
It was new as well, wasn't it?
No, it was old. It was old. The Royal Oak was not a new ship.
It was a pre-dreadnought, I think, or a dreadnought. It was from World War One. If I remember correctly.
Oak.
Do you think if Germany won the First World War that things ultimately ended better for the world?
The Royal Oak was launched in 1914, so it was a dreadnought.
It was a World War One dreadnought. Yeah.
Do you think Germany had won the war, the First World War, that things would ultimately ended better for the world than it did?
Yes.
Have you ever played?
So you mean there would have been no Second World War?
I think
there would have been a Second World War.
Yeah, there still would have.
It just wouldn't have been for the same.
Saying that maybe that's what people might think. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen.
The thing is, there was always going to be a Second World War after the First World War. It was so believable that even at the end of our timelines, First World War, people were already saying there's going to be a Second World War. Well,
Midge, I'm gonna say here, there's always going to be a Third World War.
But the only thing that will change is the way that it rose. The thing that's so I don't want to say unique, but kind of about the Second World War is the fact that it sprouted from a rise of fascism and a really right-wing nationalist idea that was even beyond nationalism. It was like this whole new thing that no one's ever come across. But you can argue that Nazism isn't even close to some elements of fascism. So
it's more closer to communism, actually, Stalinist style communism.
Wait. No, Tog. Wait, it's closer to the fascism than communism.
Oh yeah, 100. It's one of those things that has elements from a lot of things, and it's
Tog, you're getting confused.
It's the bastardized hate child between communism and fascism.
No. So remember, Hitler absolutely hates communism.
Is the idea that the production is owned by the population or by the state, but that's the thing.
Leadership works.
That's the thing that never happened in fascist Germany as an economic system. There was still independent corporations, and the corporations were the highest order that owned the production, and they had it was basically giving more latitude towards corporations and these entities with the government at the head, but they didn't own the corporations. That's the reason why there's that rivalry between Henschel and Porsche, because they're competing for contracts in an open market. There was I wouldn't say it's a free market, it's a regulated market, but it's still
looking at how the Russians had their leadership. That does not constitute to what communism is. That's just their type of government that they had. Communism is the economic policy, as Roach just said, and so Hitler is nothing close to communism.
There's a good quote I remember from a political website. It's that if you could get Hitler and Stalin in a room together and you could avoid all forms of economic discussion and only talked about social discussion, they would get along swimmingly, because they were both incredibly authoritarian, but they were on two opposite ends of the political economic spectrum. One was very right, one was very left, and that's how. And obviously,
that's what I mean more. I'm not talking about economically. I'm saying that.
Well, that's what that is. Communism is an economic policy.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Stalinism particularly. Stalin's ideas of how to run a country.
Yeah, but you forget Hitler was very big into public works, making urban living good.
Stalin wanted to do that. He wanted to drag Russia kicking and screaming to it.
The problem is, though, is that you got to remember as well is that Russia was not industrialized when Stalin came to power, and for a communist state, it was always stated it needed to be a post-industrialization. So he had to kind of just force the whole nation into a very quick industrialization and get through it to be able to then
Yes, he had to drag them kicking and screaming to the modern age.
Yeah, but by actually doing that, he actually caused more damage than was ever repairable. And you still see the damage today.
Oh my God, yeah.
Most of Russia's problems now can stem from Stalin himself. At the time, he thought his policies were needed, but actually, in the long distance future, it was actually a big problem. A lot of people warned him about that, but he killed those people.
He killed them.
As you do.
They warned him. They said that's not the way. That's not the way to put communism in. And he killed them.
As a logical Stalinist would. And
actually, a lot of them agreed with him. One guy, Bukharin, he was a very big person against it. He said, you got to do it in a slow way. And when he killed him, Bukharin forgave him because he understood that he was killing the people because he needed everyone to be on the same side. If everyone was not on the same side, it was never going to work. So the guy actually forgave him and said, I understand why you're killing me and the other people. I forgive you.
Threat. Thank you for the £10 patronage.
Yeah. No. Do remember, I was a communist for a while.
Were you?
I have studied a lot of
Dogs are communist?
Doesn't surprise
me.
I
was a communist, and now I'm an authoritarian centrist.
Okay. My uncle's a communist.
Wait, so you're Hitler?
No. Leave the chat right now. How dare you?
Talks new rise of fascism in the US.
I didn't want to get on a side thing, Midge. When you were talking about the potential if Germany had won World War One, there is as a very avid fan of alternative history, like fiction. And also speculation.
Turtle Dove stuff is great.
Yeah, Turtle Dove's
good, but he never really covered this. But there's a thing: is if Germany had won World War One, and not only Germany but Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire and everything, you have to really think. Like, if you really look at what happened with the Allies winning, what was the majority of the Allied nations were democratic, or at least in some way a republic. But the majority of the Central forces, so the Entente forces were democratic for the most part. The Central powers were all monarchies or very authoritarian. So what would have happened is, instead of it becoming the wave of democracy post-war that happened in our timeline, it would have been a wave of monarchies.
Yeah, monarchism would have resurged.
You still would have had communist Russia rising up because they left the war before the end.
Although actually,
during World War One, because that's the thing is, although Germany and Austria-Hungary and everything did oppose Russia, they hated the communists and the Bolsheviks.
Yeah, they would have. There would have been even more support for the White Russian.
Honestly
and potentially a success of defending the Tsar.
Because if Germany had won, they could have just redeclared war on Russia.
I think Kaiserreich actually got it right.
If the communists had won in Russia, you never know. Then it might have then led to even more conflict because then you'd have a communist Russia and the other people who don't like them.
If the communists had won in Russia somehow, and Germany
the new world powers that are in the central of Europe, they would have just.
It went over and steamrolled.
Instead of basically, we would have had an earlier Cold War, in my eyes, except it would be Europe versus Russia, and it would be much closer.
It would have started that way,
and so I even think this is one thing I think about Kaiserreich that they get wrong. The whole exile of the British monarchy to
they would have never let it happen.
The exile of the British monarchy to Canada, and the fact that Britain's a union of workers' republic. If Germany had won, they would not have let their family get kicked off a different their family get kicked off a different very powerful throne.
Especially, you have to remember they're all related.
Especially if their family had already been kicked out of Russia, it wouldn't have happened in two places.
Well, I think a lot of this question stems from the fact that a lot of people say that obviously World War II started because of the peace treaty of World War One. So obviously Germany lost lots of stuff, and obviously Austria-Hungary.
I said Versailles. I'm trying to think of the other three.
Brest-Litovsk.
A lot of that
Christmas,
actually
but,
comes from like if you believe. I know most people do believe that. I'm just saying. I know it's still a thing you can argue about whether it is or not. But a lot of that actually, if I remember correctly, comes from the French leader. They wanted to punish Germany because they'd been humiliated by Germany a couple of times, and they wanted to make sure Germany couldn't rise up against them again. While the British leader was actually very against it because he actually said this could lead to war in the future.
Not just the British leader.
The British wanted to leave Germany pretty much as they were because they didn't want to lose a huge trading partner. Because
just remember,
so much of Britain's
America was the only one
the Americans didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to have any. They were like, "Oh, we just don't care. Let us go home."
No. That's not how. No. No, you're just no.
That's really oversimplifying things.
Yeah, the American delegation was incredibly against harsh measures against Germany because they knew it would collapse their economy
and embitter the population.
Yeah, and they didn't want that, so they kept arguing for a less harsh treaty, but for more restrictions on their military. So they would have had a little bit more of a limited military, but the economic impacts would have been lessened.
Yeah, like
was their entire purpose.
You've got to remember as well.
Like the American president put out like a 20-point
plan.
Yeah,
it's a 20-point plan. Yeah.
And you've got to also remember
my question.
Woodrow Wilson
the reason I bring up the
Nations. It was his idea.
Yeah, he wanted everyone to.
The reason I bring up the Treaty of Versailles was because we were saying, would it have been better or worse? I'm asking, what do you think the peace treaty would have been if the Germans had won? So, do you think they would have done harsh dealings to the French or British or something, or do you think actually they'd probably just left them as it were, and maybe then it would have been more likely to have been a better outcome?
We'd have a very large Austrian. I reckon there would be a border of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Ottomans. There would be a huge. There wouldn't be as many states as there were in like.
Likely the British would likely have to give up some colonies, I would assume.
The Austro-Hungarians wanted to curb Romania. They wanted to curb Serbia. Bulgaria was an ally, so they couldn't touch them.
Yeah, I reckon Bulgaria would have some of Romania.
Greece wanted the Germans wanted Greece to remain independent. They wanted the king to stay in power because the king was pro-German, and there was a whole shitstorm in Greece over that.
Yeah, no, Britain basically funded a revolution there.
Yeah.
Italy probably would have lost territory in
the northern part. Italy would have lost Istria and Veneto and South Tyrol to the attack.
France probably would not have lost territory. France probably would have remained the same, but I think
colonially they would have lost land.
Colonially, but in terms of their home area, they wouldn't have lost land. But I think Germany would have put more things in place to strengthen their control of Alsace-Lorraine, like putting it in writing by the French, like, this is our territory, you cede all rights to it, etc., etc., etc.
They probably would have done what the French did, which was basically say, okay, all the economic output of this certain area, or at least a portion of it, goes to Germany.
The interesting one I think would be what would happen to Belgium.
Belgium was supposed to be
make a puppet.
The German part of Belgium would have become Germany, and then the remaining part, the Flanders and Flandrian area, would have been Belgium. They would have created a kingdom of Belgium.
Or
they would have empowered the kingdom.
It'd be Wallonia or something, wouldn't it? It wouldn't.
Greater Belgium.
No, because it'd be less Belgium, so it'd be like.
It would be less Belgium. They would have taken
the Flanders or something.
Less Belgium.
Lesser
A
Belgium.
kingdom of less Belgium.
You would have seen more monarchies last far longer in a World War I where Germany and the Central Powers won, because basically World War I was the test of two different types of ideologies. It was a test of monarchy and democracy, or the republic. It was authoritarianism versus liberalism.
Then you have Britain hiding with both, like, haha.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. What probably would have happened, unlike Kaiserreich, you probably would have seen a strengthening of the British monarchy post-war instead of a weakening of it, because they would have gotten support from Germany.
Yeah.
To strengthen them.
Even at that time, the Parliament was really the power of the government. Like a lot of people always look back at the British, government and always say like the king, they have the king and monarchy and stuff. But actually, for a long period of time, probably ever since the Civil War, basically, the Parliament has basically usually been the ones in charge of making decisions. of
Oh,
most
yeah.
things. The king
I'll-
obviously
I'll
still
co-
allowed to overrule, but he usually just does what they'll say.
Yeah, because if
What they
if
agree
our
with.
monarch was to literally veto anything, they'd have the entire public like in uproar. Because if they didn't have the support to veto something, they would
Especially,
we'd have a revolution. in your
definitely now, especially, but even back, like really far back as
hands.
well.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
the government in Britain has changed quite a lot since the Civil War.
It's a really interesting play on that.
All that.
On that whole idea called King Charles III, and it's if Prince Charles becomes
That's a
king.
great movie. They also made a movie out
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. There was a BBC TV drama, but
Yeah,
it's slightly different. The play
it's
is
okay.
the play is more focused, and
I'd recommend anybody who enjoys.
and it's,
alternative
interestingly,
history.
on another topic that's going over today, it's about internet privacy and internet laws that he vetoes. He vetoes government control.
Well,
over
no
internet
one
policy.
would ever get rid of having the fair internet, would they? That'd be silly.
So stupid.
That still needs to go through the courts. by the
Wait,
way.
didn't you guys also just pass? Or they are going to pass that new tax bill?
It's up in
That
the
still
air right
has-
now.
Yeah, it's all over the
okay,
place.
the way the U.S. government works is that we have just like the British government, we have two houses that pass legislation, but ours are separate but equal. So they have they can both pass their own types of laws, and they both passed a tax plan. And now they have to do what's called reconciliation. They have to bring the two tax plans together, the two bills, and then they have to figure out how they're going to put them together. And they have to work out like what's going to be taken from one of them and taken out from another, and like kind of combined together. And that's
But
still
I
happening.
want to ask for you guys as Americans, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's a good one or a bad one?
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah,
It's a horrible plan.
Yeah, from what I
it's
could
not.
tell when I first saw it,
It gives a tax credit or a tax deduction for people who own private jets, but takes away the tax credit you get as a school teacher buying your own supplies. It's ridiculous.
yeah, I don't understand
Like
a lot
if a
of it,
teacher buys her own
Then again,
supplies or
it's
their own
business,
supplies,
man.
they should
I
have
mean,
the
he's a
ability to
businessman.
write that off on their taxes. They get rid of certain. Well, at least the House plan gets rid of a lot of tax brackets and can bring either some people up a tax bracket or down a tax bracket, but the majority get brought up a tax bracket, which is bad because that increases their taxes. And unless you're like making over $1 million a year, there's what was the other thing that was good? You pay state in the U.S. You pay state taxes and you pay federal taxes. So you would pay off of your income. Let's say I'm going to make everything very broad. Let's say you make $50,000 a year. You pay $5,000 in taxes for state taxes. I think that's lowballing it for some states, but
That's reasonable.
yeah, you pay $5,000 in state taxes. So technically you brought home $45,000 of your $50,000 that you made. Everything else was in taxes. And under the current tax plan, you're able to write in that, and that way they only tax they only tax the 45, and that's fine. Actually, that works out for a lot of people. But they'll take that out in the new tax plan. So now, potentially, because the Senate plan does not do this, the House plan does. They'll just tax your whole income again for federal. So you get taxed your whole income twice, even though you only brought home a certain amount for after state taxes, because state taxes are automatically deducted. You get paid. So there's a whole bunch of this shit that just kind of like really fucks over people that don't make a lot of money. And
Yeah, but not all states have state tax.
not all of them, but the vast majority do. Like
Wait,
Illinois,
some states have no state tax?
Yeah, like
Well,
Nevada. We don't
yeah,
have
That
any
sounds
state income
amazing.
tax.
I'd move there if I was in America.
I mean, you make up for it with a higher sales tax.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they just
Well,
Nothing happens for free. Andy.
not necessarily in Nevada, because we have a lot of casinos and prostitution.
Yay! Blackjack and hookers.
Casinos, prostitution, and the most successful CSI series ever.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's actually the wrong one, Midge.
Yeah, I know it is.
CSI
I realised
Indian
that, I just said that.
Reservation.
Indian reservation.
My favorite
just alcoholics and
CSI
poor
series
people.
was the New York one.
The one that only got 2 seasons and immediately died after.
Yeah, I really liked that one. It was like of a better production value than most of them. That's why.
What's the big one now? It's the NCIS is the big like procedural cop drama, but it's like it's getting all the
I think
spin-offs.
that's
So they
the
got,
one
like,
that
LA
my
and
parents
New
my
Orleans.
parents would always watch the Navy
Miami
one.
is the main-
Yeah, that'd be
NCIS.
NCIS.
Yeah, NCIS. They would always watch that. I was like, okay.
I was surprised at how long that show's been on air.
Yeah.
It's surprising how
Yeah.
long some of these shows have been on the air because NCIS has been on since JAG ended, and you think of JAG being a very '90s show, so it's
Yeah.
How
it's
horribly
surprising.
90s.
My
I'm
my
never
two
I'm
favorite
never
cop
fond of
dramas
story of
are Criminal Minds and I like Blue Bloods, the one with Tom Selleck.
See, I'm such
Just
a
like
country.
his mustache.
Midge,
I'm so country. I love Longmire as a cop show. Like, it's a good
Night-
show. It
We
really
don't-
Fucking
is.
country bumpkin.
They literally stopped showing that in the UK. It didn't.
They
Midge.
did. Oh, that
It,
sucks.
it
'cause
didn't
it's
do
actually,
well over here.
It's actually really good. I like
Wait,
it a
what
lot.
was really good?
Longmire.
Oh,
Oh yeah, okay. It's the only
Midge,
one.
you might know the cop show that I like is called The Thin Blue Line.
Thin Blue Line. Yep.
Yeah, that's okay.
Not sure that's on anymore.
I'm thinking of the one with Mr. Bean in it. Rowan Atkinson in it.
Yeah.
What's the comedy? Midge, what was the comedy he was on when they're playing cops? I thought it was called The Thin Blue Line.
I think it is.
That's my favorite one because it's funny. I'm just not fond of like story of the week kind of shows.
Yeah,
Some stuff I'm just
Thin
like,
Blue
okay.
Line. Thin Blue Line.
Yeah, I was right.
Although-
But I just don't like NCIS and stuff and like Law and Order and all those other things. I just like, okay, what's the story this week? Oh, another murder. Yeah.
One of my favorite series ever created is a cop show, and it was two different series things. First, and it's Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, because they were books at first, and they're really good.
Oh yeah, Life on Mars.
my favorite show was Hogan's Heroes. Just saying.
That show was amazing.
They're thinking about
I
restarting that too.
I know.
Aren't they also?
I'm gonna watch a-
Aren't
if I'm
they
gonna watch
thinking
a
about
serious
restarting
show, I
the
like the
A Team
story.
again?
Yes.
Oh god,
Again.
that A-Team film.
Oh, the flying tank. Fucking.
Yeah.
Oh God. It
God,
so
that was
bad.
such a horrible movie.
But I love it.
The first
That's a
15
terrible
minutes
movie.
were okay. Then
Well, that's because they were
got-
obviously trying to be camp, and they were trying to make it into like, oh, this is the A Team, like you remember.
Is that the thing
And-
though, Roach? Is 18 maybe just two 80s?
No,
Or 70s,
that's,
wherever it came out?
that's the thing.
Next
though.
they're going to be
like,
remaking Knight Rider, like.
That's
think-
another one that's on the bill.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
on
that
the
is
shit,
something that's
man.
actually planned. No.
Michael
It's
all of
everything,
those
Mitch.
70s
If
shows.
you can think about it, it becomes real. That's what it
If
is.
you believe it
Okay,
enough, like the
Wait,
horse.
guys, just think about things you want to be done again. So I'm gonna go. I next they're gonna redo
Actually,
the
to be fair,
Moomins.
that did happen for me. I wanted a BBC TV show called Raven to come back, and they're redoing that next year.
I would like
Which is
them to
it's a
stop making
children's
more
show.
Star Wars movies.
It's
Oh wait, is that the thing when they go in the woods like the
with
competition?
the weird, the
thing?
Warrior. Yeah, it's all Scottish. It's great. It's a children's
They have to,
TV show. It's
little
like where they
fights.
put kids through like challenges and stuff. And they're all
Oh,
dressed in like
there's a-
medieval gear, and it's all great. It's great, and then like you send a
that
kid
reminds
through an
me.
assault
Oh my
course,
god, that
and there's
reminds me.
demons
There's
and
this.
stuff. It's fantastic, and they were
For a
rebuilt.
There's this-
for a kid show. It's pretty
There's
good.
this old British TV show that I remember because it got reruns over here, like on a local channel. But I want it to be around again. It's called Nightmare. It's like it's
Called The Night.
it's so obviously 70s like or 80s. It was like a group of kids. It was the UK show, so it was a group of kids. They'd have one kid that would be blinded. But it was like this like D&D kind of high, like mid fantasy kind of setting, and they'd have a guy that would be this dungeon master, or the guy that would keep they'd send
Ben
this
Messenger.
kid. Yeah, I saw it. They sent this kid into basically it was all chroma keyed. Like this kid was in rooms that were just green or blue or whatever it was, and it was projected, and only his friends who were looking at a closed circuit TV in the room could see what he was seeing, and they had to guide
There
him through
is
the
a
maze.
one-off special edition apparently of Nightmare on YouTube. that was done recently in 2012.
Ooh, I might have to watch that because you know what? It's the best thing I've seen in a while. Just one because I love it because it doesn't pull any fucking punches. Like only like 3 teams ever made it, and it was all like really hard riddles with real like actual like mythology. So it was talking about like the Greek and Roman mythology. Like
just looking at the cast for it, and it's literally they actually have the boatman from like Greek mythology and stuff. And...
Oh, okay. Ben just messaged.
Yeah, we saw.
Oh,
yeah.
What did he say?
He had a fire alarm off.
Ah, okay.
So either way, but yeah, it was so they had the maidens and but also like a whole bunch of like interesting rooms, and they would always be different. The only thing is that the natural tendencies of British speaking hurt everyone that was participating, because back then apparently it was very common for you to end your sentences with "right" when you finish a sentence, and
that's a very London thing. That is.
When you're guiding somebody that can't see what's happening, using right when you're also giving directions fucks with them a lot. So they would go like, right, Nigel, we're going to need you to go left at the fork, right? What? Am I going right or left?
So do you not use like right as like okay in America?
Right.
We don't really preface our sentences with a positive.
Should I go left? Right.
Like, we don't do that.
Yeah, I was trained not to do that.
Yeah.
I generally use correct.
Is my hair brown?
Yes.
Right.
No. Yes.
Yes, or
Right.
correct.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Or no.
Yeah.
Or
Right,
you're
yes.
stupid and blind because
Or
it's
depending
not
from what
black.
county in Illinois. Yeah. Because there's a shitload of Germans here.
Yep.
Dwight Schrute Farms.
But yeah, no, it's a really great show. I hope it comes back. Because they would be able to do so many better effects because they're really cheesy in the show. But it's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Raven's very much like that, but it also adds a little bit of gladiators in it. So like every now and then you see a couple of kids beat each other to death with a pugil stick, and that's quite.
What was
Yeah.
what was the other really great show that like it's not a kid show obviously, but it was I don't think the UK has this, but maybe Tog and Chris will remember. Do you remember? It's on the old Spike TV network. It was called MXC.
Yes.
Yes. Somebody else
Remember that.
That is such a great
Spike
show.
TV, Jesus.
No, back when it was not.
Okay. Just for you and so Midge and NG. Basically, what MXC is there was an old Japanese game show called Takeshi's Castle.
We have Takeshi's Castle. No.
No. Yeah, we get that. Think of that. But what happened with MXC was that instead of actually doing the episodes with just like a dub or something, it was all done for parody. So instead of being Takeshi and his like men and like the castle and everything like that, it was It was Chris Blankenship and Vic Romano. And it was just these guys dubbing over the thing, and it was Captain Tennille was the general that would guide the people through the challenges, and it was Guy Ledouche, which was the reporter guy with the pit helmet that was down there, and it was all like very parody voices and everything, and like
It was amazing.
Instead of it being like them versus the guy in the castle, it was like two teams of very different types of people competing against each other, and like in the story, so it would be like religious people versus fashion people, and it would be like, and there were all the jokes would be based around that for the whole thing, and it was dub work. It was really good.
Do you know who our presenter? Do you have the same person presenting if you had Takeshi's Castle? Did you have the same person like
regular
over?
Takeshi's Castle never aired in the U.S.
See,
it was always MXC.
The dubbed version for us. The person presenting it and like doing all the narration for it was Craig Charles. As in I think it's Craig Charles. Charles. Yeah, as in Dave Lister from Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf's not a big thing over here,
Okay,
so I don't know
enough.
the actors.
But wait, sorry, Midge, what are you talking about?
Takeshi's
Sorry,
Castle in the UK.
Oh, okay. So I thought because you said Lister, so I thought you were going to talk about Robot Wars or something.
Oh yeah, well yeah. It's, as I said, it is Craig Charles. He does the voicing because he also does the presenting of Robot Wars over here.
Midge, did you know that they actually made an American pilot for an American Red Dwarf?
Did they?
Actually rehired the guy who plays Rimmer to play him in the American one, because when they tried to recast as American actors, they said they couldn't find anyone who could play Rimmer with the same self-loathing as him. They said they went through so many actors and no one could play him in a realistic way when he was so self-loathing. They only could hire him back. I think they also actually got back the robot. They brought him as well, but the pilot didn't go through.
Oh, fan.
Rimmer, just because they couldn't find someone who could self-loathe themselves enough as an actor.
Yeah, Craig Charles also now has a show on a radio show on BBC Radio 2, which is the Craig Charles Funk and Soul Show.
I like him.
Which is on a Friday night on Radio 2. Yeah, I love him, but I love the fact that like for a lot of his early stuff, he was like on cocaine for all of it. So.
I always feel like that the guy who played Rimmer is always underappreciated. Like I think he was quite a good actor, but no one seems to care.
I'm just sitting over here trying to figure out what Hogan's Heroes would look like if they rebooted it.
Probably horrible with 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
I mean,
it's like that joke in Stargate.
modernized.
Remember like the 200th episode of Stargate when they were going over like oh, why don't we have a young and hip team, and it just flashes to like all the team being like 20 or like teens, like teens, and it's like like they're using cell phones instead of radios. And
but I mean, if they modernized it, what is it going to be set in like some ISIS camp or something? Like, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe
no one remembers.
Probably
people
Russians.
don't remember World War II.
Koreans,
Russians,
North Koreans, wouldn't have
Koreans,
wouldn't worry after.
Eastern Ukraine, maybe.
Serbia.
I love that South Park episode where they're like, they're trying to find out who the terrorists are, or the bad guys are, and like Cartman's talking to the person like, who is it? Who is the person behind all this? And they go, it's America's enemy. And they go, the Russians? Like, no, older. The Germans? No, even older. And then he goes, and it's like, no. He goes, go further back. The first enemy of America. And it's like, you then see the Queen. Like,
I remember that episode. It wasn't even the modern British military.
Boats.
It was redcoats with like 3 masks.
Yeah.
like
it was red
ships of war.
Those old boats. Yeah, it was great. And they're like, Mom, we're coming to the coast of America, and then they just bomb them. And it's just like, Mom, we lost, and the Queen just shoots herself. Be great.
I haven't seen that.
Just on point.
It's great because the Queen never. I don't think the Queen has a line in that episode. Like it's just every time that cuts to her, she's just sitting on the throne, like without.
I think she just goes like, "I see," and then she just puts the gun in her mouth and just shoots herself.
Yeah, after she figures after the invasion plan goes to shit. Yeah, that was a funny one.
On point though. That was just silly funny. Like they could have just done it like an actual British invasion and people would have got it, but actually made them red coats, so it just made it so silly.
Well, that was perfect. That was great. That was hilarious.
Yeah, if they hadn't done that, it wouldn't have been as good. But they did that and it's perfect.
Just red coats on ships of war invading America.
Coming to invade America. South Park.
Now I'm just thinking about all these old shows I remember that I kind of wish might come back.
How did that happen? We went from like politics, World War II, to like war. Then we went to like TV shows.
Don't forget we started with Feet and Focked.
Yeah, it just kind of happens. Like me and Ben do that all the time when we're on like a series, like when we're doing like talking or anything. It just kind of devolves. Like I think we were talking about mechanics and like Osiris New Dawn, and I think we ended up on like. I don't remember, like The Martian, like the book The Martian or something like that. I just kept going around.
Do you know what I really want to play with this group one day is the Battlestar Galactica board game. We should.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
have that on
looks
Tabletop
fun.
Simulator. I've played that a lot. That
Do
is,
you?
I won
We
that
should
game
so
in less
play.
than 3 turns as
See,
a Cylon.
I've
once.
not watched Battlestar Galactica. I've not watched it.
You don't need
I've
to
only
watch it.
watched like
You
the
don't need
first
to.
movie. Yeah, and I've seen the board game, and it looked really fun because
Oh,
like the whole thing of like not knowing who is the Cylon and stuff. I was like, that actually looks really fun. That was a great idea.
What I did was I was playing as Ellen Ty, and Ellen Ty has the ability to take the Admiralty once per game from anyone that has it. Apparently the guy that had jumped previously, he jumped us really far, the ship really far, and wasted most of the fuel, so they only had 2 fuel or something like that, which was really bad. And they didn't have a way of getting it back. So basically it got to the point where, okay, we're ready to jump. Okay, we got to be really careful about this. So what do we have to maximize our jump priorities? And I just went, right, taking that. I took the 2 cards. They were both for 3, so I just went, we're doing this one. And they ran out of fuel and died. And I was just like, right, we won. 3 turns in. And it's just like everyone's like, what the fuck?
Cylon's just OP.
See, it's weird. I don't play many board games because when I was a kid, none of my friends or anything was into board games. But there are a few really interesting board games these years. Like, I saw that Star Wars Rebellion board game. That looks like a lot of fun as well. It's
Some
like
good
basically
ones
just
that-
Star Wars in a box.
I want to play
Some good
Secret
ones-
Hitler as well.
Secret Hitler's
Secret
good, but I would
Hitler.
say that's a little simplistic.
Oh,
Some of the good, like hidden
Best
traitor ones
Cards
that are kind of
Against
cool,
Humanity is the best one.
would be no, that's not hidden traitor thing. Hidden traitor games with cooperation. Like there's Battlestar Galactica is good with all of its
There's a
expansions.
zombie one, isn't there?
There's Dead of Winter,
That's
which
the
is
one I'm thinking.
great.
It's
Because
really
the thing is, Dead of Winter
Is
doesn't
it? I've seen
necessarily
that.
have
I
a
haven't talking
traitor.
about it.
You could potentially be a traitor. There's a potential for somebody to be, but it doesn't have to be one. In Battlestar, there's always a traitor, but in Dead of Winter, there
Dead of
isn't.
Winter,
So
everyone always talks about it, but I'm
There's
never
no-
I'm not sure if it's good or not.
there's no like guarantee there's a traitor. You just have your own objectives, which doesn't necessarily mean you betray people. Like I think there's one where you might take food and go out on your own, and that's a potential thing you could do. But most of the others are like, okay, I want to barricade up this thing to up to 4
Game
or
of
something.
Thrones board game.
I haven't played that one actually. I've seen it.
Actually, wait, I'm actually going to ask this to you guys now. Do you guys want to play Cards Against Humanity? We can play online now. Like, there's a website you can go to.
we
and you can
could.
We
play.
did that as my that
Yeah.
was the community event this week.
Actually, do
I
you know that
absolutely, I love that so much. I don't know what it's about Cards Against Humanity. I don't know. It's
Muzz
such a
about.
good game.
Muzz is about he has.
He was in your.
I know. That's
your
what I was saying. He has
thing a while ago.
He's paid access to one that has like 9,000 decks. So
If we all have Tabletop Simulator, we could do.
Nope.
Oh, damn it!
I've never booted it up. I've got it.
I never thought I'd need it.
It's great. It's a great
Get it.
program.
I see it. Muzz,
It's $20 right now.
if these guys want to play Cards Against Humanity, could you set us up a game in a room and play with us maybe? Just because.
And we could do horrible, horrible things to each other.
Also, if we're not going to be doing tabletop, maybe we should get out of Ben's tabletop chat.
Yeah, let's go down to the community event chat then.
What, on Ben's server, or are we going to go to mine or something?
Yeah, actually, we could go to Studio One on your server.
Yeah, go to
Oh,
I mean,
we're not
does it
doing this
really matter? Does Ben mind? I'm
I
not sure
don't
Ben's
think
gonna be like,
Ben
hey, how
cares,
dare
but
you?
I
Get out of my
also-
tabletop.
No, but I'm saying if Muzz is going to set us up a game of Cards Against Humanity,
Yeah.
I need to be able to talk to him, and he can't have access to this chat.
Yeah,
So-
that may be. Although, couldn't you drag him down since you're a mod?
I could,
Let's
and I
just
could
jump into-
redo the settings, but I
Let's just jump into midges.
Yeah, it's just easier.
go into Studio One on him. Hello.
I have power.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Oh yeah, Roach. I
Mhm.
have one thing that I want to do with Screek.
Oh, trying to get you to use your
And that's
power for
Buy money.
evil.
Buy things.
Buy money.
Buy
I mean, buy
things.
things with
Buy
money.
buy
Buy
things with money. I want to
Buy
use
things-
money to
okay.
exchange for goods and services.
Well, I was.
Bounce.
Oh, that's what I was
Oh.
assuming that today's session was going to be primarily a shopping session, so I kind of prepared for that. So we can, like I said, we could kind of just do that next session next time we play.
Oh,
whenever that
okay. I
is.
mean,
it's not a big
sure.
deal.
Oh, actually, I don't know about you guys. Do any of you guys know any good like board games for like 2 people? Like maybe ones where you work together or something? Because my wife's just started getting into like playing like computer game stuff. We're starting to do more like these silly things. Cooperative games that are good.
I mean, there's loads of cooperative board games.
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't know any that are good.
What's the pandemic-ish one?
Pandemic.
Pandemic?
Pretty
Is
good.
it
The
pandemic?
pandemic is one. Pandemic.
Yeah, that's a pandemic.
There's
You
the
talking about
Oregon
one where you
Trail.
fight against diseases? Or
Yeah.
There's an Oregon Trail board game.
Yeah, there's Oregon Trail.
Damn dysentery.
Damn dysentery. It kills everything.
Oregon Trail? I thought it was a computer game.
Oregon
Yeah, they
Trail.
made a-
Yeah,
There's a
they
board
made a
game
board
version.
game of it.
I'm sending you all the
Computer
link
game?
now.
Oh.
I mean,
that's-
here's the really
Hi.
awesome part about Tabletop Simulator. Like, if you really want to, you can play Total or not Total War, Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40K on it, because people have ported all the models in from all those different games.
yeah, it's a pretty.
I'm not sure I'd
flexible
want to.
program.
It feels like a hassle.
Yeah, it's
Top
It-
Simulator is good.
it's really fun. It's got so much stuff, dude. You just look. I don't know how many.
If you get it on sale, I just got it on sale. Just
Eldritch
try and
Horror?
find it when it's on sale.
is a pretty good game. It is a
Oh,
cooperative.
what's
game.
that one that's really good? The other good party game. Oh, Haunted House on a Hill.
Oh my god, that game is so much fun.
Yep,
Oh.
that's I would
That's
definitely
a
if you guys
fun game.
ever get a chance, pick that up and have like 5 people play it.
Yeah.
It is
We may have to
it
try
is a
that sometime.
Hilarious game. Hilarious game.
The amount of bullshittery that you can do to other people is amazing in that game.
Wait, so I've jumped into the thing I was sent. I made a name. What do I do now?
You might want to add a password, but you don't really need to.
I think you click
Why would I
the
want a password?
check mark that's like an affirmative. You know, it's pretty yeah.
Put a password so I can click it.
This is actually a pleasant change of pace for once. And we're doing,
This is gonna be horrible.
if I remember correctly,
Can we not do the
Wednesday.
specialty decks? Because I always find the specialty decks to be hard to really work with. Like especially because a lot of people don't get the jokes. Like,
Well-
like that guy with the glasses themed decks don't really work if you don't know what the hell that guy with the glasses is.
There is so many decks in this game that you will probably get a lot of things you don't even seen before in Cards Against Humanity. I mean, I can take out the expansions, but
Oh yeah,
You-
also
you get
NG, Boss Monster is a good game.
you get 10 blank cards, or I can up the amount a little bit now to 20.
Yeah, up the
Okay, that's done. And basically, you can add a blank card at any given time.
Right. Shuttle.
Didn't realize
Is everyone
underscore.
in? Who are we missing? NG.
Listen,
Underscore only. So I. That was there. We go.
Hi, King NG Parrot. Just comes in all titled and distinguished.
Right.
Name, I was
You
like, I'm
know
gonna
what
make
your
something
first cards
snazzy.
Also, it's very cold in my house. I'm gonna quickly just check if my heating's on.
So I will refuse to watch your stream then. I'll leave the chat because I don't want to cheat.
This is
So
gonna
rude.
go
So
well.
rude.
So
That would be so rude. Yes.
who wants to be demonetized?
I'll warn you guys. I'll warn you guys. I have tended to do quite well at this.
I've tended to be horribly racist. while
none of
doing
you guys have ever played with me.
it. Oh,
None of you have played in the
Unfortunately, no.
military.
But
None of you have played in the military.
Together.
I mean, I
Well,
lost.
just-
I lost the
Yeah.
last game of this, but I won the first game of this. So
Like, from what I've seen, you guys are pretty mild.
yeah.
I mean, I toned down the stuff because it gets pretty crazy when I'm playing with my friends in real life, when we don't actually care that there are people online listening to us.
Wait,
Never
so
played at a family reunion where we don't give a shit anymore.
my sister had Cards Against Humanity at the wedding. They had
Oh,
like
boy.
they had their own personalized cards, so they were about family and friends.
Ha-
Oh, that must have
Wow,
gone
that's
so
a
well.
quick way to start
It's
having
like,
family
what?
members talk to you.
It's like, what did Emily do on Friday? That'd be the black card.
So many things.
White
All
cards-
the naughty.
A lot of the white cards would be like some would be inside jokes maybe for her and her friends, like
Like a
so
little
there'd be
bit?
some really it was really nice. It was a really nicely done idea. Related to their relationship and stuff. It was really nice.
We did a white card only game once, so everyone had a whiteboard.
Oh boy.
So everyone just read out the blank cards and then
In the
everyone wrote
game,
on a
or I'm
whiteboard.
confused. What's going on?
Like in person, they just played it, but with white cards only, blank cards only. So they could make their own blank white card.
So everyone made up their own answers, basically.
A game, okay.
Right.
Right. I turned out to start as the cards are, so what is my most treasured memory? Oh god.
Oh,
How do I just click? Do I just click the play and that's done?
Yep.
Yep.
Or if you need
Yeah, there we go.
a blank card, you type in and press enter.
I didn't have a particularly good one for this. I didn't feel like.
Well, what is my most treasured memory? Dropping a deuce in aisle 7.
It's not American.
Daesh. What?
Daesh. As in
Daesh.
ISIS.
Oh. Whipping it out with force. Rehab. Killing babies with a flamethrower.
Well,
Yep.
I think we
baby.
know
Yep.
one. Yeah, I think we know one.
Hear faint Huey sounds in the background.
Yeah, Vietnam War sounds in the background.
Unfortunate son playing on speakers.
I was literally about to say, or Buffalo Springsteen.
Blank. That's why we can't have nice things.
Done.
Definitely. Done.
Okay, I got mine. It depends what type of person you are, I guess. This one.
Yelling Heil Hitler during a bar mitzvah. That's why we can't have nice things. A thermonuclear detonation. That's why we can't have nice things. An 80-foot tall inflatable Christmas tree that looks suspiciously like a butt plug. That's why we can't have nice things. The token minority. That's why we can't have nice things.
Those last two are very similar.
That's why we can't have nice things.
God damn it, that one's by default.
I'm annoyed. I was going to play a
Again. Damn it, Road.
I'm beginning to see a pattern here.
Minority. I thought I might get that.
Okay,
I've been given the best hand ever.
What I like to do when I'm alone is...
I only have one that can go with this.
Well,
You
do
can
have
write your
one
own
card you
too,
can
remember? There's
Yeah.
a little box at the bottom where you can write your own.
You can always do a blank one. Oh, you
Uh,
got
you
20
get 20.
use.
blanks.
We only have 20.
Ah, okay.
What I
Oh,
like
that's
to do
lots.
when I'm
That is
alone
lots.
is...
That is a lot, yeah.
Oh, shit. Getting teabagged by a level 10 who wasn't even part of the fight. Play... something simulator.
Pinochet.
Pinochet simulator. I don't know what that is. Jelly having no idea what's going on. Yeah, that's about right. Putting my dick in some random holes in a wall just in case. And thinking about old people. Now, purely because it's relatively accurate.
Yes.
Oh.
Midge, Pinochet was the dictator of Chile and was well known for throwing commies out of helicopters. And it is a meme on the internet playing Pinochet Simulator is throwing communists out of a helicopter.
How do I deal with my sexual frustration?
I don't have many good ones.
Okay, I've got two. I can go extremely the, or I can go semi like
This is Cards
Desperate
Against Humanity.
Housewives.
This is Cards Against Humanity, Mitch. That should answer your question.
Okay, I'm going with
One of my answers was the Jews. So.
The Jews.
Well,
We've gone from the Jews to throwing people out of helicopters.
How do I deal with sexual frustration? System of the Down syndrome.
Oh, sorry.
A big black dick. If one of these is a bigger, blacker dick, they're winning.
That card is in there somewhere.
Kissing a frog and getting herpes. Jews number 3, or Jew number 3. I believe Putting that one on there.
Thank you.
Damn you.
The grammatically incorrect I, though, is really annoying me.
Yeah. Make sure you capitalize.
I want to use her blank.
That's how
as a
you know
pillow
they
and
use the
sleep
blank.
this boner off.
I'm trying not to use the blank.
This is pretty bad.
God damn it, hiccups.
So it's 2-2 to Maz and Roach, and the rest of us don't have any.
Yeah, we're not very good at this, are we?
I want to use her.
It's
Aborted
only
Come
been-
on, Chris, I'm expecting more from
Oh,
you.
Jesus Christ. As a pillow and sleep this boner off.
A lot of it, I don't know if people.
I
will
want to
get.
use her blackface as a pillow and sleep this boner off. I want to use her. Oh God! Oh, that hurts. Are you done? Thank you. I want to use her dem titties. That's grammatically incorrect, and immediately we will move on. I want to use her Dragon Slayer magic as a pillow and sleep this boner off. I'm going to have to vote the most horribly offensive one.
Damn it, Muzz.
Aborted feast to eat. Fetus
Doesn't make
Easter eggs.
sense.
Doesn't have to make sense. I mean, it's Cards Against Humanity.
I mean, it's down to the person, isn't it? Okay. I never thought I'd be comfortable with blank, but now it's pretty much the only thing I masturbate to.
Oh, I've got like 3 that would work here.
This is
Yeah, I
good
got at
blank.
least one that works, and maybe more.
Oh my
I
god.
never thought I'd be comfortable with Obamacare, but now it's pretty much the only thing I can masturbate to. The gardener, but now it's pretty much the only thing I masturbate to.
Gizzles.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it's now pretty much the only thing I masturbate to.
Has anyone seen that Vine where the guy beats up the gardener called Jesus?
Nope.
Just like
Look,
it
but now
goes,
it's pretty much the only thing I masturbate to. Black people, Asians. But now it's pretty much the only thing I masturbate. I actually kind of to this one.
Don't admit something.
Ah.
Yay, Obamacare!
Well,
Obama
just
wins every
kidding.
time.
It's like the idea of someone masturbating to Obamacare.
no,
Just looking at blank made me believe there is a god. It's gonna be difficult. Just looking at not a pillow or a sheet, but a blanket of snow, made me believe there is a god. Just looking at stiff nips made me believe there is a god. Just looking at God made me believe there is a god. Just looking at the Ark of the Covenant made me believe there is a god. And just looking at Steve Buscemi praising a serious role after watching Grown Ups made me believe there is a God. I have a tentative feeling this is going to be Midge, but... No, it's not.
Ark of the Covenant. See, it was a play on words because you can't look at the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, you
Come on,
jerk.
guys.
God, get it right, you German.
Oi! Careful now.
How can I make Senpai notice me?
Well, I got one of the most racist ones. Possibly. Then again, playing Ken Roach. And talk.
How can I make Senpai notice me? My clitoris. Throwing a penny over the edge of the Empire State Building to see how many Jews jump at her for it. Plagiarizing a suicide note.
Oh.
That's really sad.
Entire week selling
Can't
money
even come up with anything good to say at the end. Jeez.
Taking a shit in a display toilet at the local Home Depot. You guys are all horrible people.
Yes, we are.
Why, thank
You
you.
the one saying you never played this in the military? Well, fuck them. We're gonna go even further.
Oh, these aren't.
And the Jews win again.
Ah.
The Jews always win. This is for the
No, they didn't. I
random
played a
factors.
Jew card and it didn't win. That's...
The only reason you're horrible people is I'm
If you
playing
had to
home
work
right
at
now.
a Chuck E. Cheese at night, what would you do? I always get Chuck E. Cheese and Five Nights at Freddy's and Freddy Fazbear's confused in my head. The silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh, it's really cold in my house. Okay, what would I do at night? What would you guys do at night in a Chuck E. Cheese? Apparently someone would. Silence. Oh, okay. What would you do at a Chuck E. Cheese at night? A girl with a thick, untamed jungle bush.
Why in the trimmers?
What would you do? You would clean out the cash register for any juice. Okay.
It sounds just right. Three Jews every
Well,
time.
we've got an anti-Semite in the audience today.
It's
Kill
Jews
myself.
all the way down.
No grammar there. Swallowing your pride and your boss's cum at the same time. Ooh. Just out of principle, if the Jews can't always win, I'm gonna have to go with that one. Ah,
Thank you.
God
it was
damn
a
it.
false. It was a false negative.
Damn it. Also, Roach, you gotta get on it with the grammar.
How much do you need to win?
8.
I only believe in the God of. And mine would have been funnier if you read the card right. If you had to work at Chuck E. Cheese at night, you'd kill yourself. Let's be honest.
Yes,
Probably,
yes, you
yes.
Probably, yeah.
I only believe in the God of the Jewish version of Voldemort.
God damn.
would. God damn it.
That's
I
a
only
that's a
believe
blank
in the-
card because it's got a no full stop on it.
That's
Yeah.
not necessarily so in this.
Not
Oh, really?
necessarily True.
Nope.
Yeah, no,
I only believe in the God of casual locker room finger fucking.
Oh my god, that's a weird image.
Yeah, I only believe in the God of my throbbing rod. I only believe in the God of Dungeons and Dragons.
Why didn't I
Damn
put
it.
Godbrick?
Technically, whoever played that, there are multiple gods in Dungeons and Dragons, so I only believe in the God of tits and wine. Well,
That's two gods.
there we go.
Well,
Also, Roach,
Game of
Gary
Thrones
Gygax
reference.
is the god of Dungeons and Dragons.
Technically, there were 2 creators of Dungeons and Dragons.
Silence, you heretic. I dare you to blank. Oh shit, he dared. Mus is too good at this. He can't play.
Oi!
His whole hand just Jews everywhere. is there a deck he added that's just the Jew deck? That's just everything dealing with Jews.
Der Juden.
Somebody's typing in an answer.
It probably involves Jews, knowing how this group works.
Oh wait, no! No! I just
I dare
thought of
you
one.
to go into Harvey Weinstein's. Oh, geez, no. I dare you to shitting on my face. I dare you to turning your skin into metal, but still being able to move. I dare you to burn SJWs with flamethrower. I dare you to uncomfortable car sex.
I thought of a better one just as the round turned over. Is
All these are
activate my Jew card.
Yeah, I got one.
Now the only one not on the board is Crimson.
Mus was close.
I don't know how you
I knew it was.
Next book is blank.
This is a random
I
punt.
advise you don't do an inside Stephen King's joke because I've not read any of his books.
Oh shit.
Damn it! I was typing one in. Fuck.
Stephen King like joke, I probably won't get it.
I'm still gonna do it just to spite you.
Just for the audience at home.
I mean, unless it's might generally know just from hearing about it. Like I do generally obviously know some of his work, obviously. Tower and Shining, whatnot.
Have you read 1963?
But 1964, so.
No, my original card would have been.
Right. Stephen King's next book is Looking at Strangers. Next book is another fucking book set in Maine. Stephen King's next book is writing a book about a scary space alien cloud spider that in the end contains explicit underage sex scenes. Is that all of his books then, put together? Stephen King's next book is Social Justice Warriors with Flamethrowers. Why is Social Justice Warriors and Flamethrowers everywhere? Stephen King's next book is Switching Your Diabetic Friend's Insulin with Heroin.
Holy shit!
I think we have an easier name for that. That's just murder.
Yeah, no, that's just murder.
Well, it'd be funny if you replaced it with sugar syrup.
It's not. It doesn't make sense of the actual thing, so I don't like it.
Made me giggle though.
Yes, yes, the Stephen King joke works.
I was first gonna write 2018, but nah.
But yes, the book
Wouldn't have won.
the original edition of it had fucking underage sex scenes at the end.
All right, boys, there's going to be a few changes around here. We're turning the Krusty Krab into a paradise for teens to hang out. I'm calling it the Blank Crab. This can only go badly. The fuck?
Come on, MG.
None of mine are good.
Make your own. That another fucking main one was just one I made up. But that's
I think
the
it
one
would take even longer. I don't want to take too long. No, let's go for that.
Right. All right, boys, there's going to be a few changes around here. We're turning the Krusty Krab into a paradise for teens to hang out. I'm calling it the Safe Space Crab. I'm calling it Celebration Life Ericsson Day. What? Dinga Dinga Darkin. Okay.
Just leave Eric.
Guess that's Roach's card then. I'm calling it the Sheila Buff Crab. Edgy Paradox? I'm calling it the Zeus Sexual Appetite Crab. And I'm calling it the Red Wedding Crab. That's another Game of Thrones.
People are trying to win with Game of Thrones references now.
I'm going for the safe space.
God damn it.
I
Leave
know
Ericsson Day!
Oh, wow.
Getting a Dargan.
This one.
I've been into blank since before I hit puberty. I just didn't know what it meant until now.
Oh, no. I'm going to save that one.
That's half this game is just trying to. Oh, do I want to use this yet?
Yes.
I don't like that I had to use that Shia LaBeouf one because I know it could have been used better. Because I know there's an actual cannibal card somewhere in the deck. It would have been great.
By the way, if you think a card you can't use, just click on the X and it will disappear on you. And you can just get a new one later on after this round.
I've been into Snow White being gang raped by the 7 dwarves since before I hit puberty. I just didn't know what it meant until now. I've been into hiring a hooker, killing her, and eating her since before I hit puberty.
We're back to cannibalism.
Getting spanked with a cheese grater before I hit puberty. I've been into jerking off into your parents' bed as a form of revenge since before I hit puberty. I've been into 4th graders since before I hit puberty.
Okay, who's Harvey Weinstein?
He wasn't into children.
Yeah! Catching up to you, Mus.
God damn it, all the rest of us
Look
on
out,
one.
you German fuck!
I'm not even offended because I'm Dutch, but okay.
Nothing quite ruins a party like an S-Club party.
God damn it, Shia LaBeouf! I could have used that card.
Midge, are you
fucking
Midge, are you
good.
kidding me? I was about to type that out. A-N, and I was like, an S-Club party, and then you said it. So I knew your British, I thought you'd get it. And you said it.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know something? They came to my uni. 3 members of S Club are going around universities, or were last year anyway. And it was it was terrible.
I knew that. If I'd put that down, I probably would have won because you would have known it.
Yeah, I know. I was already on the mind frame of it. Nothing like shitting on food in front of people starving. Okay, coming on the floor and blaming it on grandma. Okay, finding a condom in your daughter's backpack. Okay. No, but that's the right with it. Slurping down his protein shake.
Proteins, huh?
Yeah, that would
That would be bad. Yeah.
That would actually ruin a party for a dad, wouldn't it?
Cancer would ruin a party pretty quickly. I mean,
but that was
wasn't
the
reason.
star sign. I mean, to be fair, if someone announced they were Cancer at a party, they would get punched.
What did Peter Dinklage name his penis? I'm really angry that I'm not able to put cards on this one because I have one for this.
I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. Damn it!
You know anything about Peter Dinklage?
Is he short?
Well, I mean, he's a dwarf, so yes.
I'm so in between 2 cards right now, but I'm just going for the 1.
What did Peter Dinklage name his penis? His little.
I just realized I hit play random card.
Little Winklage. Cersei's throat. I'm gonna guess a lot of these are gonna be blank cards.
I guess he can get his hands in her throat.
Speed polka. That's actually all right. Centaurus.
I wish I'd thought of Needle.
Establishing dominance.
Yeah.
God damn you people.
Hello, just Paces.
Well, I have to go with this one.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's Little Winklage.
Cersei's throat, because I thought like he puts his hand around his penis, it's like putting his hands around her throat.
I mean, that's meta, but like...
Blank ruins all my relationships with my friends. My horrible racism. There, I already have the answer. You can't beat me.
No.
One of my white cards is, it just says a sausage wallet. What am I going to use that for?
Lagging out ruins all my relationships with my friends. A bounty hunter who seems pretty badass even though he does nothing worthy of praise ruins all my relationships with my friends. My belief that Stalin and Hitler fuck you. My bigger block.
And there it is.
And finally, Kevin Bacon wanted nothing but cowboy boots ruins all my. Well,
If this wasn't Tog, the third one would have won every time.
no, I rolled a d20.
Okay, you, me, blank, now. Jackson, now.
Damn it.
You, me, shit with a hammer. I mean actual shit now. Serving barbecue in a burn award now. I got a little chuckle, yeah. You, me, sweet little baby Jesus now. Peanut butter now. You, me, my waifu now. As much as I hope they would. No. Okay, go with that one.
Thank
God
you.
damn
Damn it, Mus.
Us?
What?
I hate you. You
To be honest, I was kind of expecting more that time.
And on the 8th day, God created blank. That can be a lot of things.
What was that?
Talk, I think.
Sorry, I think it's my dog. He's going crazy at the moment.
I have pushed
Yeah.
the dog on.
All right, okay. Right, and on the 8th day, God created Adam and Eve as the subscribers to the presses had just ran out. And on the 8th day, God created big black cops with big black guns and big black dicks shooting small white men.
We was kangs and shit.
God created good-natured, fun-loving Aussie racism. God created Britney Spears' sagging ass. Oof. Okay. Gotta delete that picture. And God created your dead, hairy, beautiful taint.
Oh my.
I'm gonna have to go for this one. Nice one, Mitch.
I take a small bow, and I continue with the game.
What are we going to?
8.
10. Oh, 8.
I think it's 8. Check the settings.
What's your best friend?
8.
That's the result.
I'll have to go a bit darker here.
See, this is hard when you don't know people, like, really well. What's your best friend? The salty tears of Miley Cyrus. Helen Keller with broken hands. Grandpa's ashes. Poland because she's so damn easy to invade. What's a friend? Oh, God.
I could have gone really dark here. I didn't. I just.
You should have.
No, I discarded a card instead. I couldn't do that.
Yay, Poland.
Damn it.
Nice.
I need more. What do I need more of, guys?
It's actually too easy, so I'm not gonna do that.
Well, I need more bigger, blacker dick. It fits like in every single situation.
That's why it's the coveted
that.
card.
Unless it's a really tiny, tiny white girl, then it might not fit.
It will fit if you try hard enough.
She'll be fine. Just make her take an aspirin.
Wow.
Noticed I used the medication more fondly in America there for that joke.
Don't worry, we'll just flip the mattress after.
Not really fond of having so many blank cards.
I can't think of anything that would.
Like I could just put in bigger, blacker dick every time.
I need more of a cute, fuzzy
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia. Oh, thank you. Skinned koala. Forgetting the safe word. Okay. Boring vaginal sex. Horse riding. Sex sweat.
Yes!
I'm confused. Why does this one win?
Because I have
Because
horse riding.
because Midge actually has horse riding lessons in his universe.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right.
In Michael Jackson's final moments, he thought about blank. I swear, if this YouTube thing doesn't go down, I could probably be a game show announcer. Oh god. See, I know you guys just enough to talk,
investment.
which is good, because this one feels fast.
Feels sweet.
Me and Rommel wanting room for 2 more, smiley face.
Question to the people in the room: is there room for 2 more people who may have just donated some bits at me? Rommel and Dark Krusty.
I mean, there's already there's like too many cards coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought.
Anyways, this is just a replacement to our normal D&D game.
Yeah.
We just keep it kind of.
I mean,
Muzz is here because it's his subscription to this game.
Yeah. We need Muzz. Sadly.
Oh, thanks a lot, Talk. I remember that.
In Michael Jackson's final moments, he thought about little boy Jordan Chandler and how close the relationship was. He thought about joining the IS to get attention.
Was the Islamic State a thing?
He's dying. Why does he want more attention?
When Michael Jackson died?
No, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
He doesn't know what he's missing then, does he?
He thought about blowing the wrong whistle. He thought about regretting not touching those little boys. He thought about little kids. Okay, so we're 3 for 5
on the pedophilia.
On the pedophilia one. Okay, I'm gonna add a principle. I'm gonna choose this one.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Roach, do you know who Jordan Chandler was? He was the kid who was whose father accused Michael Jackson of sexually abusing him.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yep.
That's why Roach said 3 of 5. He knew.
Yep.
Blank is the best lube. And if you put water, you're wrong.
No, I've got one better.
Because water under pressure is not a lubricant. The more you know. Come on, Crimson. We're waiting.
All right.
The blood of my enemies is the best lube. Your daddy's sloppy seconds is the best lube. Tears is the best lube. Poop soup is the best lube. A mana potion is the best lube.
It was actually the tears one is actually really dark.
Except that water is not a lubricant. So
Yeah.
But tears aren't water.
It's salt
water.
I'm
It's
happy.
salt water.
I can't complain.
I mean, there's enzymes.
Now
and
this is a
stuff in it.
story all about how my life got twisted upside down. If one of you just typed out the whole song, I'd have let you win.
I'm not sure if the blank card will allow for that.
Someone had just typed out the whole song, I'd have been like, okay, you win.
Copy and paste. Let's get this over.
Now someone does it, it's not funny and can't
Not
be-
now,
can't
not
be-
now. Because I started saying some of it. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
So what you're telling me is for the next 2 rounds, we should all just post the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's lyrics in the chat. In the blank cards.
No. I might actually win this one.
Man, please tell me you're not literally hyping out the
Fuck's
entire
sake, are you
lyrics
kidding
of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Sorry. Someone just ruined the new Star Wars film in one of my comment section.
What a
My
dick.
comments
You're
was
not
like,
missing
it's
much.
there, I can see it. Great.
You're not missing
Just
much.
go remove that and ban that person. It's
Did
like-
they just give a spoiler?
China until the 10th of January.
It's got to get through the censors first.
Some movies come out a bit later just because they like to spread out the international films.
I think we had it in the Netherlands before
There's
it
a couple of
was
movies coming out this month
live in
already.
the US.
UK for sure.
Oh yeah. Also, they only have a certain amount of movies international come out each year, so maybe they felt their quota for this year, so they pushed it to January. There's a few reasons, but yeah. Now this is a story all about an uninterrupted history of imperialism and exploitation. This is a story all about a cute fuzzy koala, but it has. Why is there always a koala chlamydia?
Because actually, because they do have.
They carry
do have
chlamydia on their skin.
Yeah, there was a
the
thing
second
for a
time.
while that Harry Styles almost caught chlamydia from a koala, which was.
Yeah, but see, if
Now this
you're
is a
beyond my
story
joy-
all about Race Wars, Episode 4, A New Reich.
Right.
That was Toxicart.
No, actually, that's quite nicely. Now this is a story all about Mass Effect, the game where you fuck aliens.
That's very true.
Humans as well. But now this is a story all about rat career made me frown. I like that you tried to do like a little rhyme, but yeah, not gonna happen.
Finally, I'm figuring your fucking senses of humor out.
So the Mass Effect one was roaches. I actually thought that was yours, Roach.
Oh no, I did the Mass Effect one because I had that card for a while.
Well, this is gonna be very topical, I guess. When I was young, we didn't have any fancy blank. That can be a lot of things because shit got invented real quick.
No, so we didn't have any fancy. Oh,
When I was young, we didn't have any fancy we didn't have any fancy fake news. That's very we didn't have any fancy juice sorting machines, or as the kids call them, ATMs. Okay. We didn't have any fancy medicine. And we didn't have any profound respect and appreciation for indigenous culture. I mean, I'm not that old, but
Actually, all of those are pretty good.
yeah, they are.
That was a good round.
Hating the Dutch has always been a thing, I think. Fake news, well,
Just been by another name.
trying to figure out whether or not ATMs were a thing when I was younger. But I'm gonna go for medicine.
Yeah!
Damn it!
Damn it! Boss!
I love having so many blank cards because I can just use my own comedic timing.
What will I bring back in time to convince people that I am a powerful wizard? Because this can't go wrong in any way.
Done. Picked it.
yeah,
Perfect.
I'm good.
So I'm only 1 point away from winning, aren't I?
Yup.
And being crowned the king of comedy.
Oh well. I would prefer to take the lesser title of Prince of Comedy that has more.
What will I bring back in time
Baron
to
of hilarity.
convince people that I'm a powerful wizard?
With more
A
prize
level
money.
92 weapon that fires Nyan cats that shoot lasers out of their mouths. A golden 50 cal pistol. Non-lethal fireballs. A broken Guitar Hero controller. Pussy crispy. Okay, these are all shit, by the way. I was expecting better from you all.
You're welcome.
Choose carefully.
Yay!
Damn it.
Damn it. I was making a call.
Does that show you're a powerful wizard?
Yeah, that's why I went for the non-lethal fireballs.
Because I thought it was funny.
Cat gun.
Why would I never be able to run for president of the United States?
You're British.
Oh, god damn it, NG. I was just typing that.
That's technically not true, is it? Or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I can't, yeah.
I mean,
you
you can
have to
technically
be
have
born
dual
in America.
citizenship like that
Nope.
new,
Yeah.
like the new prince.
You have to be born.
Yeah.
You can't be a naturalized citizen. You have to be born in the United States.
Yeah, the new, the little prince, the new one is.
I don't know if you can hold dual citizenship though.
Yeah,
No,
you can.
he was
He's
he
got
was
it, he's
born
got
a
2 points.
citizen.
He was born. He was a natural
But
born
he's not
citizen
the
of the
fucking
US.
president, is what I'm saying.
Not yet, he's not, but it's a big power play for the Brits.
It's a long
We told you we'd be back.
They resurrect the Queen from the grave.
Because if it continues as it's going, you'll end up making Trump king.
God, please no.
And then he won't matter anymore
I support monarchies, but not this.
Because then if you become a constitutional monarchy, he wouldn't have any power anymore, and it'll be fine, and we could just let him be him. And then we could have like install claimant CB with the new little prince.
See, I'd be fine with him. I'd be fine with him declaring himself king, because then we can have a good old-fashioned peasant revolution. And just let's break out the guillotines again.
Because I believe Hitler and Stalin are the same. The thin line between bestiality, intentions, and trying to save a dying race of animal people. Oh, this game, the Jews. I'm an atheist. Right. Really disappointed with the answers here. I was hoping for things like the date of the American War of Independence, things like that. All of them missed ideals here. But I'm going to go with that one.
But Midge, you don't seem to understand. If you're atheist, you could never be elected.
I was gonna go with the blank card, and I was gonna write in. Because Trump will have ended the U.S. in eternal hellfire.
Yeah, there was some.
Paper beats rock. Rock beats scissors. Scissors beats paper, and blank beats them all. I can see Tog and Mitch figured one out pretty damn quick.
Damn right.
One really good card, but it never fits into any of these black cards, so I haven't been able to use it. It's so good.
And deflowering the princess beats them all. 5th edition beats them all.
Okay.
All right. An entrenched class system beats them all. Fucking nukes beats them all. Gas chamber beats them all. Gonna go with Muzz on that. That's Muzz.
What? What?
Wow, it's not even me. I'm impressed.
Let's be honest. How many Jew cards have been played? How many of them have been yours? Muzz?
True.
Not a lot actually.
No, a lot. Wrong.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm gonna go with this one.
Yes.
5th edition was mine.
Imperialism.
Imperialism beats them all.
Who the fuck is DJ Khaled?
Is it
Another one.
Yeah.
Just play to Talk's weakness then.
I'm just dumping cards.
You know, you can just press the X2 to get rid of some
Yeah.
cards. They'll replace the next round, so you can.
Oh, well, now that I
I've been-
know that.
I told you that, but hey.
I said like 3.
I didn't hear it.
Oh well.
DG Khalid's new producer is
DG?
It's like God.
Sarkawi.
Hitler, Stalin, and the whole crew. Are they the new NWA?
I went a little
Harvey
bit too
Weinstein.
racist with mine.
William Shatner the fourth. Dog.
Yes.
God damn.
Oh, damn it. Mitch is crawling up there.
I had.
Just catching up.
Damn it! I need one win. I just need one more.
I hope I beat you now.
I think there's a blank in my Happy Meal.
Oh, that doesn't fit. Damn it.
You for my Happy Meal.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. I think there's a bacteria in my Happy Meal. I think there's a Death by Steven Seagal in my Happy Meal. Ezio's Italian sausage in my Happy Meal. I think there's a Jimmy Savile in my Happy Meal. It's like it's a whole person.
Just imagine opening it up and there's just Jimmy Savile looking back at you like, hello.
No, I'm gonna take a massive guess and say that's probably Midge.
If it has anything to do with
Jimmy
British
Savile.
pop culture and you're not also there, it's Midge.
Yes. I think there's a Harry Bush Jr. in my Happy Meal. I have to choose this one. It was the best one.
Thank you.
Damn it!
And it
Damn
was
it.
indeed Midge.
It's Midge, but it was the best one.
Oh, they're biased. They're both English. I call bias.
You can't critically hit with.
I've been saving this card.
Uh-oh.
We have 3 people within 2 of winning the game.
If this one doesn't win, I'll be very upset.
Well, Midge typed in his. I heard him typing.
Yep.
You can't critically hit with wild magic search crosswind. It's not allowed. You can't critically hit with Ben's luck. You can't critically hit with implicit racism.
I'm sure you can, though.
You can't.
Yeah, vicious mockery. I could so critically hit someone with vicious racism.
Implicit racism.
You can't critically hit with Hitler's art diploma. You can't critically hit with bronze curved dagger. God, yeah, I gotta go for this one. Nice one, Benji.
There you
Yay!
go, NG. Damn it, Mitch.
Didn't win, I'd be upset.
What?
Roach, you've been on 7 for so long.
Blank
I'm
broke
also
my
on 7.
game.
Goddamn kids.
Broke my game.
God damn it. Can't pick. Can't think of anything.
Vamos.
Oh, shit. Oh, I thought that one.
Everyone's getting so quiet because they're so serious about that.
Someone keep
I'm just
changing
waiting
their-
for talk to. Oh, there we go.
Shut up.
Net neutrality broke my game. The death of Archduke for transfer Dan broke my game. Microtransactions broke my game. RuneScape broke my game. Taking an arrow to the damn knee broke my game.
I mean, you might make someone win if you pick either Midge or
Don't
Roaches.
fuck it up.
I know.
Crimson. Don't fuck it up.
Damn it!
Crimson,
Oh,
you
now
made
there's
the
3 of us in
situation
7.
worse. Crimson,
How could you not pick the death of Page of Archduke Transfer Dan?
Microtransaction. Oh no, 999. What's your emergency? Because I'm fucking British. Nine 911. What's your emergency?
All right.
999.
That just inspired someone to start typing.
Oh.
Damn it.
So the thing is here, I've got to decipher which one is Roach and
Roach
and
or
Mars, so they don't win against me.
And after that, if nobody of us wins, then Roach has to do the same.
Yeah, and then you'll have to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except he has Tog and NG to throw it for him.
Begrudged oral sex. Discovering that it's never just a big vagina. Premature ejaculation. I've locked myself out of my... Oh.
That's NG.
And the instructions weren't clear. Dick got stuck in the blender.
Oh, that's painful.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
You didn't win.
Midge, I will never forgive you.
Damn it, Midge!
Oh, someone
Midge,
remembered
you
that I
are
locked
literally-
myself out of my car this year.
Yes, I did.
Midge, you are literally worse than Hitler and Stalin.
Cool, according to.
To be fair, that's not
We're
too
the
bad
same.
for you, isn't it?
Shut.
Shut up.
Oh, damn.
Oh dear. Right,
I
I'm.
love you.
We can either do one more game or we can end it there. What do you think?
I'm okay with ending it there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cry in a corner.
Okay.
Probably try
Thank
to
you
work
for
on myself.
joining us for this off week due to stuff. I enjoyed the late podcasty bit beforehand, and I think the Cards Against Humanity was a nice way to end that as well. Just sum up all the political bullshit with horrific bullshit.
Fucking derps.
So we'll be back Wednesday now with D&D.
Yeah, it'll be later than normal as well. We're moving to a
Yes.
later time, so...
Yes, we are.
Now, are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing D&D then, right?
It's D&D, yes. So
Yeah.
it will be the start of season 4 of the Tales of Borgvard Godslayer.
This Wednesday.
I can't
This
believe we
Wednesday,
managed
the
to get.
20th.
I can't believe we managed to get reseeded for another season.
Yeah, well, they
This time
haven't.
we're
come-
executives
funding.
of fools.
Well, with
How do
the
we
with the
get
Coswin
funding?
with the Coswin death during the special during one of the specials, it's just, they couldn't not do it.
Yeah, it's the ratings
Is this
are
gonna
up.
be like? Is this gonna be like freaking Family Guy? Or are we gonna have to bring Coswin back in a few days, few episodes due to popular demand?
Um,
it is very hard to get petrification reversed. So
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Only you know.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thank you for watching. We'll be back Wednesday with that at the slightly later time. All the information for that will be posted probably in the week beforehand. Stay tuned.
check the discords of
Yeah.
Ben and Midge. They'll have times.
Yeah, we will have the times. There was something else I was going to say. Oh yeah,
we're
that's a
getting
note.
time.
No, it's all right. That's a note for everyone else. That's not the audience. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for any of the bits and donations for this stream. That was mighty fine of all of you. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Ta-ta.